It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join News Director Paul David and News Editor Philip Katafamo as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics in Yavapai County that affect all our lives. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio with us, whether you're watching or listening today. Game and Fish spokesperson Jackie Fulmuth is in studio with us today. Well, not in studio, but she's with us today. A couple of things for you. Game and Fish's website is azgfd.com, and then the Operation Game Thief hotline, too. You might want to keep this kind of handy with you, just in case you live in the great outdoors like we all do, so close, and their forest is just right around us. If you see something suspicious going on, 1-800-352-0700, 1-800-352-0700. I'll mention that one multiple times as well during the show today. Hello, Jackie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you for showing up. It's been about a year since I had you in. Jackie's the new Game and Fish person. You guys probably remember we had Shelley Shepard on multiple times throughout the year, over the years, but Jackie came in last year, right? When did you start with Game and Fish?
I started in February of last year, so right before everything closed down.
Right before everything closed down. And so Jackie's been working out of her house the whole time and doesn't actually have a Game and Fish office at the moment. It's just her house. So we appreciate you being here, though, Jackie. Let's jump right into it. OHV and some camping safety tips. The weather has warmed up quite fast. We're averaging between 5 and 15 degrees above normal, have been over the last couple of weeks, and I've noticed a lot more campers going down the road. So people are heading out in the great outdoors, and you see a lot of the off-highway vehicles as well. So what's some OHV safety tips we should be thinking about as we head back out in the great outdoors?
With OHV safety, we're definitely wanting to focus on maintaining control of the vehicle, so driving a little slower on those roads where we might lose control, and wearing protective equipment. This is especially applicable for children. So it's actually against the law to have children not wearing helmets. So anybody under 18 needs to be wearing a helmet. That's a Department of Transportation approved helmet that we're looking for on kids. Bike helmets don't count. Some families try to do that. The bike helmet gets crushed instantly under a tire of an OHV. And then goggles, gloves, pants, long sleeves, those all help. Protective boots should also be worn, and those will really help protect you if you fall out. We want seatbelts to be followed, kids in car seats where applicable. Those will all help have a more fun and safe environment when you're out using your OHV vehicles.
Now, I've noticed a few times now where I've seen law enforcement say where they've stop somebody because they've got too many people on the vehicles. So I would imagine each of these vehicles probably is rated for the certain amount of people that are supposed to be on it, right?
Yep, they're all rated for the number of people that should be on it, and overloading on them can be really dangerous. And with dirt bikes too, we'll sometimes see people trying to double ride on a dirt bike that's not approved for that, and that's a big safety hazard as well.
Okay, so Game and Fish, if Game and Fish law enforcement sees that going on, they're going to pull them over and give them a talking to, maybe even a ticket possibly, depending on if they've talked to them before.
Yep, it's very possible.
There's also the OHV decal. How often is that something that you have to think about in the state of Arizona?
I'm not sure how often, but I do know that you get the OHV decal from the MPD. And then there's two ways of doing it too. You always have the OHV decal, but then you also have to be careful about whether your vehicle is street legal or not. And that's going to include things like having vehicle insurance, and then there's a whole list of specs that you need to have your vehicle be street legal. But then you'll also register your vehicle and get a license plate. So that way it can be driven on maintained roads that you could normally drive another vehicle on.
Game and Fish offices aren't closed; they're open. So people can people go back into Game and Fish offices? Say the one that's in Flagstaff off Lake Mary Road. Can people just walk in there right now, or is it appointment only right now at Game and Fish? How's that work?
We definitely recommend giving us a call ahead of time. There's a lot of services that can be done online, and you don't even need an office visit. And our staff are more than happy to walk you through that process. And then if you need to come into the office, they'll definitely help you out there too.
Okay, so be careful out there on those OHVs and watch for the little ones. We do the stories about how there's a group of people riding and all of a sudden one person's not there anymore, and then they go back and find them and it's rolled and damaged. And don't be drinking and driving. The same rules apply out there, or doing drugs and driving. All those rules apply when you're on OHV back in the woods. All right, Jackie, we're going to jump gears. You mentioned you wanted to bring up bears. Jackie's in Pine Top over there in eastern Arizona, so she's going to see more than we are here, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I think a few years back we had a young bear that walked down through Oak Creek Canyon, followed Oak Creek, and then wound up in the Sedona city limits and was walking through Sedona and just making himself, he was going from yard to yard cleaning out bird feeders because they were full of food, and he felt like this is perfect. But anyways, our bears are out and about again. Everything's out and about again. Spring has sprung.
Yes, absolutely. So bears are definitely out. They're coming in the neighborhoods to find food usually. So they'll eat your trash, they'll eat bird seed from your bird feeders. They like hummingbird feeders too. So that's one that's a surprise. We've got lots of pictures of bears climbing onto people's patios and taking a sip from the hummingbird feeders. And what's really important to remember with bears is that once they're drawn to an area, it's kind of too late to start thinking, oh, I'm going to put my trash away, I'm going to put my bird seed or dog food away. They've already come to the area and found food in that area. So they're going to keep hunting around that area for that food source or your garbage. So we're asking people to be proactive in putting those things away, especially at night. So if you feed your dog outside on your patio, that's okay, but we want to make sure we clean that up at night or when the dog's done feeding. And those will really help keep our neighborhoods safer. If you do have a nuisance bear that's in your yard, you can give us a call and we'll have officers generally come out and try to take a look and see what's going on. And they've got their whole categories for how to deal with bears. But really, we want to be proactive in preventing them from coming in the first place. We're not sure completely if it being a drier year is going to impact our number of bear calls. We're hoping it doesn't, but that if they're coming in looking for water, that could definitely lead to an increase in bear incidents as well.
I was wondering about that too. We're going to get into the water situation as well. Just how well are the tanks out in the forest filled with water? People don't know what a tank is. It's just this divot in the ground that we've made that's got a berm around it that the snow melts into, rain falls into, and that's a tank. And animals use that for their water source. And I know last year Game and Fish was doing a lot of filling of water resources. So yeah, that is going to be a thing that I was thinking about too. Over the winter months when it was really warm, I was thinking, okay, are we going to have another rabies breakout in the state? But that didn't seem to happen. We had a few foxes here and there that came up with the rabies, but it never really became an issue. It didn't seem like it. But now, yeah, wildlife is waking up and they're being like, oh, that's my normal drinking hole, but there's still no water in it. So yeah, that does bring wildlife into residential areas. I think in the Verde Valley, we're mostly used to seeing, the coyotes, you see them all the time, but then there's the javelina, and then occasionally you get the bobcats and you get the mountain lions that come down out of the hills looking for food and water because there's just not enough of it for them in the mountains for them to be eating and drinking. So I guess you guys probably watch that pretty closely throughout the year, don't you?
Yeah, we're keeping an eye on it. We see them definitely coming in and looking for easy sources of food and water when they're available. And then we're watching how much water are in these catchments. They've actually got some catchments that can send signals to our biologists that'll let them know, hey, this catchment is empty. We need to fill it up with water. And it makes it more productive for our biologists and our water hauling team to be able to fill up these places that are pretty remote. Like it can take several hours on roads that you have to drive really slow on with big tanks of water to be able to fill these up. And some of them, they even have to fill up via helicopters. So those videos are kind of cool. But our wildlife is surviving on these water catchments. And we've got some that'll naturally fill up if it rains, but the catch is there that we need precipitation for for their aprons to catch and fill the water catchments. So we're really keeping an eye on it and trying to help wildlife be able to survive, especially in the drier conditions that we've got right now.
And we should probably mention, we'll take our first break here, Jackie. Jackie Fulmuth with Game and Fish, spokesperson for Game and Fish. Jackie Fulmuth with us today. If you go to azgfd.com, all this information can be found right there, azgfd.com. Don't forget Operation Game Thief. If you see something suspicious while you're out in the woods this year, hunters hunting when they shouldn't be hunting, 1-800-352-0700. This is Countywide. Give us a couple minutes and we'll be right back.
The mouth is the gateway to the digestive system. Studies indicate a correlation between oral health and full body health. Regular cleanings and checkups can help protect you. New patients are welcome at Arizona Smile Designers in Cottonwood. There's a full smile worth of services all offered under one roof. Whitening and cosmetic to implants and smile reconstruction. Find out more or request an appointment online at azsmiledesigners.com.
Your carpet is the largest air filter in your home, trapping dust, dirt, and germs from the air that your family members breathe, even the furriest ones.
That's why it's important to keep your carpet and tile clean and hygienic with regular cleanings by Zero Res. Zero Res uses state-of-the-art technology and powered water, not soap or harsh chemicals, so zero residue is left on home surfaces.
Schedule your appointment today because a clean home is a healthy home. Visit ZeroResNorthernArizona.com.
Hi, this is Greg at Verde Solar Power. You know, Arizona has lots of clean, renewable sunshine, and we want to help you take advantage of it with our quality solar installations, and we offer to beat any written offer on a residential solar electric system. So bring us your electric bill and let us show you how solar power will save you money. We're located conveniently here in the Verde Valley and are dedicated to helping the valley go solar. So remember, the energy solution comes up every morning.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in Uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Welcome back Countywide. Jackie Fulmuth with Game and Fish Department is with us today on the show. azgfd.com is the website. Phone number is 1-800-352-0700. It's such a habit to say in studio with us, but I'm actually just sitting here by myself. Jackie's with us. Jackie, we talked a little bit about bears and how if you've got food in your yard, it brings in the wildlife. And I was telling you during the break that last year was kind of the first year I spent so much time in the backyard due to COVID, watching the birds and things like that. So we put up a bird feeder and I put in a small fountain with water in it. And then I noticed that then I started getting some chipmunks in the yard. And I had plenty of birds in the yard. And then I had some squirrels in the yard. And then all of a sudden I had 6 skunks in my yard. And they were living under my wood pile. And she had, are they kits? Baby skunks, is it kits? I'm trying to think of the term for them. But anyway, she had 5 of them. And it was really fun to watch them because every night they would come out and they would go up underneath the bird feeder. And of course, they're feeding on the seed that the birds had knocked down all day long and digging in between the flagstone looking for worms and whatever else they could find. And then they would go right back to my old wood pile is where they were living. But I got to tell you, it was pretty fun to watch them early in the morning, early evening, come out and have the young just playing with themselves, each other out there. And then they would get busy, foraging through my yard for stuff to eat. None of them ever bothered me. If I went out in the backyard, they were fine with being around me and I was fine being around them too. But one by one, they disappeared from my yard. But that was kind of my experience last year with wildlife in my yard. Now I could see how that could snowball into something much larger, as we mentioned, a bear.
Yeah, it definitely can snowball. You've got to remember if you're bringing in these cute little fuzzy creatures,
Yes.
There's things that eat them. So, and if you've got a surplus of them in your yard that are fun to watch, you might just watch them get eaten one day. So,
Yeah.
And then you've got that larger critter now that is a nuisance that you don't want in your yard anymore. And it all just starts from the cute little bird seed and bird feeder that you put out, and then can escalate. And all of a sudden, you've got a problem that's out of control.
Now, we've had issues with people feeding wildlife, and that's why I bring this up, because that's one thing to have a bird feeder in my yard, but I've driven by houses where you see corn cobs, put on poles for elk to come up and eat, and we had a couple instances in the Verde Valley, I think it was last year, the year before, where javelina are moving through neighborhoods and certain folks are actually feeding them and putting food out for them each year or each day, and when they arrive and they don't see the food there, they get a bit aggressive, and we had 2 people attacked last year, which resulted in 2 herds of javelina being pretty much euthanized and taken out because they were becoming a hazard. So there's that aspect of it as well. We're actually signing kind of a death warrant for some of these animals by inviting them into our yard.
Absolutely. So javelinas in particular, they don't do well if you relocate them. A lot of times, even if we were to intervene in those situations, the javelinas would die anyway. But I can't tell you the number of videos and pictures I've seen of people who are posting these cute little baby javelinas that they're feeding like bread to, or like they've started feeding them and now they want them to go away because they're a nuisance now. And now they're getting into their trash or their neighbor's trash. So those are all situations that we're trying to prevent. The little baby animals, when we're feeding them, they might be cute, but ultimately there's a bigger problem there. And then we're potentially harming them because they're going to have a harder time finding their natural food sources because they've been accustomed to humans feeding them now too. So it's just kind of a circular effect of hurting the animals from their natural habitats to us potentially having to euthanize an animal because it's become aggressive or become a pest at that point that we can't solve any other way.
Yeah, last thing we want is wildlife habituated for sure. So be careful what you're feeding them in your yard. That's for sure. We were talking about water prior, and I was hoping you can give out some information. There is a way folks can donate funds to the Game and Fish Department to help fill these water tanks that are desperately needed this time of year and throughout the summer months for the wildlife.
Yes, absolutely. So what a lot of people don't know about our program is that we don't actually receive any general tax fund dollars. So all of our programs are funded by license sales and donations in this case. So for our water program, you can actually visit sendwater.org for more information about how to support the Water for Wildlife program, or you can text Send Water as all one word to 41444, and that'll give you more information about how to donate to help give our wildlife a drink.
Sendwater.org is probably the best way for us to say this right now because folks driving down the road aren't going to be able to write the rest of it down, but that's pretty easy to remember. Sendwater.org to donate funds to have water delivered into the forest for the wildlife. Okay. While we're on the topic of wildlife, which of course Game and Fish, so why wouldn't we be? But let's go ahead and get ahead of the curve here before I start seeing the press releases. Baby wildlife, they're going to be hitting the ground here pretty soon.
Yes, it's the season for all those adorable baby wildlife that we all love. But that of course comes with the problem. A lot of people don't know that these baby animals will be left alone in the woods or any other place really. And what's happening there is the mothers of these animals, they need a break to go get some food, get some water, so that they can support their young. But then we come walking through their habitat, and we're hiking down the trail, and we see this cute little deer, and oh no, its mom isn't anywhere here. So we're seeing folks grabbing this little deer, putting it in their vehicle and taking it home, and then saying, hey, I found this deer abandoned. And the big problem that happened there is mom just took a little break to go get some food, and she was coming back. Now she doesn't have her little baby. And in this case, we tell people, go put that baby animal back where it belongs. The mom's going to come back for it. We can't do anything to help it necessarily. If we do, it's usually just taking it to a wildlife rehabber, and this time of year, they're going to be full of other baby animals that have been taken there. They just don't have the capacity to handle all of them. And we can't necessarily put it back in a lot of cases if we don't know exactly where it was, because it could be introducing disease into those habitats where they don't already have that. So that's a big risk there. Once they're taken away from their mom, their odds of survival are really low to begin with. So the best thing to do if you see a baby animal is to just leave it be, let circle of life happen. Chances are mom's coming back for it. She just needed a little break and thought she hid her baby well. But obviously a good hiding spot for what we think and what a deer thinks are totally different things. So we're just asking folks, leave the baby wildlife alone. Mom's coming back for it. Try to be quiet and just move out of the area so that way mom will come back.
It's as easy as that. Take a picture. It'll last longer, and you've got the little picture of the animal there, just sitting there waiting for mom to come back for her. So yeah, don't pick up baby wildlife this year, and spread the word about that too, especially if you tourists coming through the area and stuff, and they just don't know the rules and how things work. But let's take our second break. Game and Fish spokesperson Jackie Fulmuth in studio with us today. Operation Game Thief phone number is 1-800-352-0700. Their website is azgfd.com. If you want to help with the water situation, sendwater.org. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
Two things we can count on every year.
A new set of tax rules and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
The EPA says C&B Construction ranks in the top 1% nationally. C&B Construction invites you to see what energy efficiency and indoor air quality can be. We have won another Department of Energy Innovation Award, and C&B Construction is the only contractor in the country to win 6 consecutive EPA Indoor Air Plus awards. Experience our zero-energy, move-in ready homes at Crossroads at Mingus.
C&B Construction, locally respected, nationally recognized. Find out more at C&B Homes.com.
Been hearing about the crazy benefits of CBD? Find out how CBD can help you at Sedona's #1 resource, CBD Sedona. Come in for a free consultation and let our trained medical staff help you find the perfect product for you. Pain-relieving salves, full-spectrum oils, CBD skincare, bath bombs, and even CBD for your pets. Come on by CBD Sedona today.
Terrifying jobs, high-flying linemen, take 3.
Josh, this is an absolutely terrifying job. Why do you do it?
It's a very demanding job, but very rewarding and exciting.
How much energy are you actually working with up there?
500,000 volts of electricity.
It's definitely not my line of work. Does anything shock you?
Yeah, distracted drivers terrify me.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a few minutes left in the program with Jackie Fulmuth from the Game and Fish Department. azgfd.com is the website. Sendwater.org is how you can help with the water situation in our forest for the wildlife. And then Operation Game Thief, if you see something suspicious going on, 1-800-352-0700. Jackie, we've hit baby wildlife, OHV, bears, feeding wildlife, drought conditions, and sending water. Trout limits, that's different now. Trout limits, you wanted to make sure we talked about that.
Yeah, so that's our new regulation for our 2021-2022 fishing regulations. So it technically went into effect in January, but we're seeing a lot of our folks, especially in the northern part of the state, that are just now getting around to fishing our waters. And the trout regulation, the statewide trout regulation, has changed from 6 trout to 4 trout. And the reasoning behind that is we've actually found in angler satisfaction surveys that folks prefer to catch bigger fish because they fight harder, they actually bite easier, and then they're just more fun to catch in general, and they provide more meat usually too. So we're changing our stockings now, and they're saying that the average fish that we're stocking is going to be about 13.5 inches on average.
15.5, is that what you said?
13.5.
13.5, okay.
That's just average. So there are bigger ones out there. And I've been seeing some cool pictures already of some of the stockings that have been occurring. They are definitely bigger. And you might think that you're getting fewer fish with this trout limit, but because the fish are so much bigger, you're actually taking more meat home or more fish home because of how large these fish are. So before the trout were smaller, and now they're larger, so you're taking more home, just a fewer number of actual.
So the hatcheries aren't releasing them, because I remember stockers were usually about maybe 9 to 10 inches in length, and they were pretty small. So now we're not putting them in the waters until they're at least a foot long or a little bit longer then. Is that it?
That's it, yep. So because of that, the fish are getting bigger, so we're not able to put in as many necessarily, but they are bigger that we're putting in there. So they're going to be easier to catch than some of those smaller ones that we put in previously. So and our goal is to hope that all of them, by the end of the season, make it home with somebody, so that way they're not just dying in our lakes and rivers.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. And then everybody knows that if you find those holdover trout that make it for a whole year and then move to an area that's not fished as heavily, there are some big ones up there. And the longer they are on the water, it seems the wilder they get. So that's always nice. we're out of time. We got about 25 seconds left. So I was telling Jackie before the show, I would like to have her come back, say around late July, August timeframe to kind of talk about hunting season, because that's when that's going to fire up. And I always like to do a show about that and let folks know just how busy the hunters are going to be. So Jackie, thank you so much for being here with us today. And we're going to see you again late summer.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
That's today's Countywide. As always, we thank you for watching and listening, and we will talk to you again next time.